Hi everybody, I am Tiana Mick, also known as T Got Your Keys. I'm actually the Chief Marketing Officer for Dealer Synergy, and I'm super excited to be here.
Hey folks, Whit Norad. I work with Michael at Flex Dealer. I'm the Director of Demand Gen, aiming to make everybody love us.
Hello, I'm Scott Simons. I'm the Managing Partner and President of CMA's Valley Dealerships. We're part of Carter Myers Automotive Group. You may have saw our CEO and business partner, Liza Borsius. So just glad to be here. Hope I can maybe say a thing or two I could help you sell a car to.
I couldn't help but notice, though, when we were all taking our seats, Scott, you chose the furthest from me. Is it because you're afraid of me?
No, I just know you really well. I'm staying out of the splash zone. I'm staying out of the splash zone. No, I was being respectful. I was being respectful.
All
That's what
right,
I'll say.
fair enough. So what's exciting about this panel in particular is we're talking about a topic that I really, really enjoy. Now, I mentioned there are some familiar faces in the room. I want to mention Sean Bradley is in the room, who is one of the first people who ever gave me a speaking gig, which is super cool. Also happens to be
My dad.
Oh, let's hear it for Sean B. All right. We got Darren Dones, brought me to a Shinedown concert, impromptu, which was delightful. Now, this subject matter, building a robust sales funnel through alternate channels. The reason that we have these three individuals here is because each of them has done something unique in their sphere of influence. Now, what's important about that, especially in automotive, is that we tend to follow the same things. For example, I host a podcast called The Dealer Playbook. It took me, about 20 episodes to realize if I ever hear the word track again, I am going to, I don't know, I don't know what I'll do, but I'll do something. I will be enraged. That's what I will do. Because there is so much more than word tracks and negotiation tips and all of these sorts of things. There are so many more touch points. And so I want to start here, and I'm going to kick off the conversation with you, Tiana. You worked in auto sales. You also worked in BDC. You learned firsthand there are so many more elements to the mix of moving metal than we might ever tend to talk about. What were some of the common denominators that you picked up on as you excelled in your field?
Yeah, definitely. Well, the biggest thing was why people wanted to come see me, right? I needed that reason. Like, why did they want to come to my dealership, which is one? And then why did they want to buy a car from me? Because there's a lot of other car salespeople on the floor that I was sharing. So I wanted to create a brand and an image of myself that was that reason of that why. So some of the tools that I used was, especially online, marketing tactics like TikTok, which is a huge, actually the #1 growing social media platform literally in the world. So if you're not on that, you definitely need to hop on that. And then also using things like Instagram and Facebook. So by building my brand by using YouTube videos and kind of putting out content that really I knew my consumers wanted to hear, I built my brand ultimately by doing that. And I didn't have to pay for my customers to come see me because they liked my videos, they liked my personality, they liked my brand, and so they just came in and it was easy.
Right. We find that by being naturally who you are and simply letting people know you exist in a unique way, it draws people. You don't have to be that person that says, and by the way, at ABC Motors, right? Thoughts from the both of you. I know, Scott, you've really found a niche on social in particular. And then, of course, Whit, feel free to jump in as thoughts come your way as well.
Yeah, so I really like talking about this subject, personal branding. Each one of y'all sitting in here has a personal brand, and it's your name. And it's what people say about you when you're not there. And what we train our team is how to utilize social media in order to sell cars, in order to tell their story. And we teach them how to personal brand. I remember when I started in the auto industry, and the dealer did not want you, not the dealer I'm with now, but did not want you to put your cell phone out there, did not want you to overpower the dealership. So what we do is we teach people on how to use, specifically for me, is Facebook, and how to build a personal brand, how to connect with people, how to serve people. And then from there, you grow it. So, on Facebook, we teach our team, first of all, put your profile on public. And all this is terribly simple, but put your profile on public. Everybody needs to know you. They need to like you. They need to trust you. So do not do a separate business page. It's my personal page. Every day I'm going to check into Facebook with either a picture or a video. Anytime I'm going to list at least 2 used cars a day on my page. If I sell someone, I'm going to friend them, I'm going to tag them, I'm going to get them to fill out a document saying I can share their experience, and I'm going to put that on social media. What we tell our team is anything that has to do with social media, you have a question about cars, contact me. By utilizing this tool and getting in groups, I now sell people like Jake Paul, have his cell phone. I sold Jake Paul's TRX. He tagged me on Instagram. His tag on Instagram had 500,000 expressions, all from just utilizing social media. So as I'm sitting here, I probably am working 6 or 7 leads right now where people are trying to buy stuff from me. So I'm a leader that leads by example. I don't tell you what to do, I show you what to do. So if I'm showing my team what to do and how to utilize social media to make hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions of dollars, when people approach me and they need help, I TO them to managers and people at other dealerships. I'm selling an Escalade right now as we're sitting here before I came up to someone I've never met before. So someone I was talking to earlier said, well, you're the managing partner. What are you doing? I said, no, I'm showing them how to do what I'm telling them to do. If not, I would be a hypocrite. If not, I'm just a boss. I'm just telling them what to do. I need to show them what to do. So I'm very passionate about this. Do not sleep on the fact each one of y'all have a personal brand and people need to know you. They need to like you, need to trust you. And that's by being authentic, just like she was just talking about.
This ties in. Yeah, I was going to bring up the authenticity piece because obviously, a pal of mine, Michelle Denogene, she said there's nothing worse in the digital age than making a promise online that you can't fulfill in person. Thoughts on that from either of you? And by the way, this is a conversation, so as you want to hop in, don't keep looking back at me. Your eyes will get sore.
I'll take that. So I think, Scott, you touched on something really important where the landscape is changing in a way that everything used to be really top down. It was messaging being blasted in your face. And now everything is horizontal. The power has shifted from the old power, to a more even-keeled landscape where everybody in theory has this chance to make a personal brand, to make those promises, to provide an experience that should start and end in the same manner. And that's not always what happens. We work with a lot of dealers where a customer has an expectation of what they've seen online, whether it's from an individual salesperson or whether it's from the group as a whole, and then that experience gets broken. And that's what screws the funnel later. So you want to empower everybody that's interacting with you to make the best choice, to choose you and follow that experience all the way through so that you are providing, you're coming through on that promise and you're meeting the expectation that they have of you.
And I love also what Scott brought up too about how obviously we're managers, right? We have to lead our team by doing what we want our team to do, right? So if you're saying, I want you to do lot walks every morning, but you're sitting there making your cup of coffee and we're all out in the cold trying to see what cars we just got traded in, that's not really a leader. So a part of building your brand too is, do your managers, are they involved with branding? Are they involved with posting on social media? Are they involved with the community and different things like that? And especially, with the authenticity as like that main message, because just like Whit said, you don't need to be, a Sean Bradley crazy personality, right? You don't even need to be a T Got Your Keys.
What are you saying?
You just need to be you, right?
Yes.
And I think everybody has their own niche, their own community. And I think that's super beautiful about social media is that you are literally the star, right? You are holding your phone, you're the director, you are the movie producer, you're everything. So that's what your focus needs to be, is about you, your message. And if you're educating your consumers, which is what you should be doing with your brand, right? Is educating your consumers on car buying, car tips and things like that. They're gonna trust you, right? And if they trust you and they like you, they're gonna buy from you.
And that's one thing that we track. So we track, and very, very good points. We track transactional sales versus relationship sales. And Jonathan Dawson, there's various people that train on this. Ali Rita is someone that's a mentor of mine that came and visited our stores that I sit and analyze. I want to learn from the best, and I learn from everybody, not just the Ali Ritas, which is the Michael Jordan of car sales. So when we first started tracking transactional versus relationship, transactional means the manufacturer advertised, the dealership advertised, brought in that lead by the entity, not by the individual. Relationship means I generated the lead. I generated it through previous customer. I store everybody in your cell phone. If someone contacts you for any reason, store them in your phone and put in the notes how you met that person. Your Rolodex is your cell phone. And you want to store as many people as you can. I've got about 6,000 people on my phone. I'm around people that have 25,000 people on their phone.
How do you scale that across your organization?
We train
to mitigate. And you get them in the CRM after?
We do.
Okay.
We put them in there. Obvious, we put everything in the CRM that we can, but for sure, I want it in my phone.
That changed from last year. Last year, the CRM was behind you a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. So what we want to do is we want to track it. When we first started tracking transactional sales, we were at 5%. So 95% of the vehicles that we sold were sold by traditional advertising, mailers, email blasts, TV, everything else that we do. When we trained our team on these things I just shared with you, which is the same thing that they're sharing on how to build your own personal brand, right now, 45% of our cars are sold organically by our team. So literally, we traded in a GMC truck Saturday. We posted, one of the sales reps posted it, another one posted it. We had 2 people in our showroom basically arguing who was going to buy that truck on Monday. It ain't even gone through the shop yet. That's how quick our team posts on social media. And the one customer was there, did not buy it, so the other customer got to purchase it. She just sent me a text and said, "You're the best. Thank you so very much for that," because she was a previous customer of mine. So now we've turned an army of, say, 50 people in posting vehicles. We tell them to take their friends list up to the maximum they can take it to. Obviously, when you set your profile in public, some creeps are going to slide in your DMs, especially if you're attractive. If you're ugly like me, I just get weirdos. You just block them. It's no big deal, right? But that's how I make a living. That's how I feed my family. That's how I realize my goals and dreams. This is what I chose to do. So we train our people on that and say, look, if you don't do what we're telling you to do, you're going to get ran over by the people that are going to listen to us. Really sit and think about it, though. We're going to close at a higher percentage. We're going to make more money per transaction, and we can spend less money in advertising, which means I can give more money to the community. We get more money than anybody in our local community. I can invest in technology, and I can invest in facilities because I don't have to spend as much money to sell that car.
I love that, Scott. Right when you said community, I just wanted to touch on that aspect alone, because not only online social communities, which your team definitely needs to be inside of all of the Facebook, different groups and things like that, but being involved in your own community and building that brand, like physically, because literally, like, I have a quote that it's like, instead of spending money on more leads, spend money on what your community needs. And a big thing that one of the local dealerships that I was working for at the time when I was selling was the local grocery store needed shopping carts. And it sounded really like mundane, like, okay, we'll just buy some shopping carts for them. But I was like, wait, what if we offered to just fully buy the shopping carts, right? But obviously putting our advertising and branding in the front of it. And they loved it. And we literally were churning out so many customers from the grocery store because they saw a dealership was actually caring about a essential business, which is a community of, buying food, which is super vital. So I would definitely encourage you guys to see what kind of reciprocal business, not only that, but how you can donate to the community instead of just buying different leads and buying more ad space. Like, how can you actually go to the school football team, ask them, do you guys need new helmets? Do you need new pads, new things like that? To really be involved, because if you care as a dealer and as the consumer is going to feel that as well. It's the authenticity, and you can't fake that. You honestly can't.
You also can't get that without asking for it, where you said, we're going to put the branding on that. It's the same thing as the referral. You don't get the referral without asking for it. You don't get the backlink to your website without asking it. And all of those things incrementally add up to more sales, and that's what we want.
So when we called the local schools and asked if they needed money, you should have heard what they said. They said, "What do you mean?" So the cheerleading team at Waynesboro High School needed new uniforms. We didn't just write them a check. No, bring the team by. So we got out in front of the dealership and we made a pyramid. Now, I was at the bottom of the pyramid. Obviously, I wasn't at the top because I'm scared of heights. And we captured it, and guess what we did? We put it on our social media. So we literally called high schools in our county and said, "What program do you have?" And they were floored. They thought it was some type of joke, and exactly right. Now, it's not humble bragging. It's saying, okay, we are here for our community, and if you're going to donate and do those things, have a little bit of fun with it. Anybody can write a check. Hey, no, bring the team by in their cheerleading outfits that we purchased them, and let's take a picture. Because trust me, we need to tell those stories. And years ago, we were doing the future of the auto industry, and Carter Myers gave me the best compliment ever that I've ever got in my career. He said, your talk on social media 6 or 7 years ago changed the trajectory of our dealership group. When I started there, I was store number 6. We have 23 stores now. And Liza was not on social media. And I said, we're ESOP. Our employees own 26% of our company. We do things other people don't do. We need to hire a videographer, and we need to tell our story. Well, I learned that from the Ed Milet's and Andy Frisellas and Grant Cardone's, my mentors. So I went and took it to the dealership. So you can learn outside of our industry. We don't need to box ourselves just into the auto industry. And when we went and made that change is when our company really grew, because we had a story to tell, and we need to tell our story.
Let's do a quick poll. We're about 10 minutes into this discussion. Are you getting value? Raise hands. Good. See how I asked a yes or no question, but also commanded you to raise your hands? That's fantastic. Thank you, Darren. Other quick poll. Dealership personnel, raise your hands. Professionals, okay. Allied industry, OEM, okay. We're 10 minutes into this, and the real poll is who is keeping a tally of how many alternate channels this panel has just come up with. We've talked about grocery store. We've talked about school. We've talked about TikTok. We've talked about Facebook. We've talked about so many. What I would like to impress upon you at this point is how far-reaching our industry actually is.
Michael, also, we're talking about organically.
Organically. Nothing's been paid for.
Organically.
Yep.
We're talking about we're there for all those hours in the day anyway. What are we doing? What are we doing? So
yeah,
we tell
you're using the time anyways. You might as well do something effective with it.
We went through, so obviously things have slowed up a little bit, right? Our stores we've slowed up a little bit. And so we put on a board 27 things that they could do to generate a lead on Saturday morning sales meeting. And I said, how many of y'all are doing any of these? Maybe the high funnel, first you go through Vin Solutions and see your hot prospects, and then you go post on social media, and we all ranked them. And then I said, okay, so don't tell me you don't know what to do. And if you have problems doing any of these things, I'll sit down beside of you and show you how to do it to make you feel comfortable. Anything, just text people in your phone when you're saving everybody's phone. Hey, how you doing today? Don't even try to sell them anything. Just say, how are you doing today? Go through your Facebook Messenger. Go through this. The more, Brad Lee says, the more hands you shake, the more money you'll make. It's the more contacts you do. There's plenty of things that we can do, but we could also sit around and say, oh, interest rates are high. We got this strike. We could talk about everybody else. We can also fill up that board with excuses. But at the end of the time, this is the separation season right now for all of us. It's been coming. It's right now. You're either going to be a victim or you're going to be a victor right now. So we are talking about a huge sense of urgency in our organization, and it's lit a fire under me because it has been a little easy over the last couple of years.
And I'm sure what you just touched base on it too is a lot of it is training, right? And honestly, especially talking to the dealers here and everybody, right? We all need to be branding ourselves because we're all selling something today or tomorrow, right? So especially when it comes to training, are we training our salespeople to make sure all of our social medias are public and to kind of fight that stigma of, well, I don't want the weirdos to follow me, or, well, I don't want this. We need to start training our salespeople to not have those excuses and to more find the reasons why they need to be on social media. I think a huge one too is obviously what I like to do is try to find different avenues of what you're already doing. Like Scott said, I'm already going to be doing this, so I might as well try to make money. If I go to a bar or a club, or if I'm out at the movie theater, why not start, obviously telling our salespeople, start wearing your branding right outside. You're literally a walking billboard. So I would all the time yell at my coworkers, oh, I need to change before I got to the club. Why? I'm still in my dealership clothes. Okay, you literally have your dealership logo on you. You don't think some guy's gonna be like, hey girl, where you working? Let me get a car.
You trained her well there, Mr. Bradley.
So we're literally walking billboards, right? Literally, the Automotive City Unicon embodied that. I love the merch. I love everything that you guys do with the branding. It's literally what we're talking about here. So I think when it comes to training, we need to start training our salespeople to start branding. And I think it all starts with that. If we're not telling them what to do, how to do it, you can't expect them to just do it themselves. Or even just watching us up here on stage, you can't just record this, say, hey, watch this video, I went to this conference, and expect them to do it, right? We need to be the leaders, show them how to do it, go online, go on social media, take them with you to a bar or to a restaurant, show them how to actually take an up from zero, from not having to, have that paid advertising spend to all the way to the sale, because I don't think salespeople nowadays know how to sell. Unfortunately, with all of these pandemics and online, we need to definitely get back into that.
People can be really quick to write things off, like you said, oh, I don't want to do this. They need to be trained to do this. And that leadership by example piece is so, so important. And that willingness to fail in that leadership by example piece is incredibly important. So we were actually talking to a dealer partner that we have earlier, and he said, oh, well, what about Twitter? And historically, Twitter has not been where anybody's selling cars, right? And I've been thinking about that consistently, going, but why not? How many people use Twitter or Threads if you're hip and young and you're cooler than I am? Why can't we sell cars through Twitter? Why can't you be the person going when somebody complains about what General Motors has done this week? Why can't you be the person answering that question and changing their mind and providing them with that experience through this channel that is incredibly undertapped in this industry? There's so many opportunities that we're not touching. There's stadiums, there's somebody sitting there, all of those chairs could have something on them if we really got to thinking about it. So it's being willing to fail, but being willing to try the thing and be that person providing an answer, providing leadership, providing experience so that people can follow and win just like you have.
There's a common thread here between the three of these individuals in that it was mentioned earlier, you said the word, Scott. Relationship is a channel. And we always write that one off first. Now, not to get all biblical, but I'm going to. So yes, I'm about to get biblical. Are you familiar with the story of Noah and the ark? How in the balls did those animals know where to go? Okay, if you're a believer, just follow me on this one for a minute. If you're not, just follow me on this one for a minute. God made the ark a rendezvous point. Those animals knew where to rendezvous. Relationship as a channel made these individuals a rendezvous point. People are guided to them. They positioned themselves to be a rendezvous point. Does that make sense? We tend to write off relationship because of the internet. Okay, bold statement, but the internet, yes or no, has largely teleported a lot of us to an alternate reality where stupidity is the norm. And so it's made us afraid. Oh, what if I say the wrong thing? What if shut up. Put yourself out there authentically and be willing to become the rendezvous point. Who here would not love their business and the people in their business to be the rendezvous point for your community? And that's exactly what's happened with Tiana. That's exactly what happens with Whit at Flex. And that's exactly what's happened with Scott. But Scott, to the point about failure, you guys had to put yourself out there and go through those moments of, but nothing's happening. How did you find the resilience to continue pursuing that course? Because we've talked a lot about punchlines today. Oh, like Logan Paul and Jake Paul and blah, 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 blah. But it wasn't always that way. What gave you the tenacity, the resilience, Whit? What gives you that I'm going to keep going despite seeing small numbers or whatever it might be?
Well, I was just looking at the numbers, right? And I was like, okay, if media spend is literally increasing each year by 13%, and I as a salesperson don't want to be investing that much money, especially if the dealership's doing it for me, I need to be building my own brand and investing in myself. So why I kept going was obviously I was on the showroom floor for about 3 years. And when I was doing my videos and out on the lot for about 3 hours, just shooting different content, all the salespeople would be laughing at me. They'd be like, oh, look, she's out there making one of her videos. I'd walk into the dealership, they'd be like, oh, so you got your keys? I'm like, yep, that's right. And everybody's gonna know my name one day.
And your paycheck.
Exactly. And once I started doing that, which I'm sure Scott's team probably saw similar results, other team members realized, wait, what she's doing is kind of working. Or wait, that was actually getting some results. Okay, maybe not complaining and actually trying to do something might benefit me, or maybe I'll learn from it, right? So I think a lot of what we were talking about too is people need to try it. So if you're not already on social media, if you're not already telling your team to be out branding themselves, that's what they just need to be doing, is just to try it. So when I literally made my first video, I always say, because everybody's like, you're so natural in front of the video, you seem so calm, you seem so, and I'm like, it literally took me 179 takes to get a 30-second video right. 30-second video, and it was, hi, I'm Tiana, I sell cars here, okay, bye, call me. And it took me 179 times, 3 hours out on the lot, but it literally built me up to, okay, now when I do my next video, it's only gonna take me maybe 100 times, and the next one, it's only gonna take me 50 times. But if I didn't take that first initial 179 times, I would have never then, 50 videos later, been okay to get it right on the second or third time.
Yeah, so when you first start, you're gonna think that you sound very ignorant. I have a Southern drawl, so I sound like that anyway. You're going to think you look ridiculous. You think you're going to sound ridiculous. At the end of the day, who cares? If you're unique, that's what people remember you by. So uniqueness is a good thing. You want people to remember you. The reason why I did the big pivot, I started thinking, you know, we're hiring appointment setters. These companies are hiring delivery people. And then I've got all these managers to deliver this car. And I started thinking about it. What does it cost to deliver a car? And it just, a light bulb went off. And I said, you know what? This is the end of the sales rep era. If we're going to bring in the lead, it's all transaction. We're going to buy as many leads as we can. The appointment setter is going to get them in. All you have to do is have product knowledge. Typically, the deal is already closed, right? Especially on a new car. So this is the death of the salesperson. So I went and gave a meeting on this is the death of the common salesperson. And I had one person quit, said, I'm getting out of this industry. I said, well, you're not for us. You didn't get the point of my meeting. The point of the meeting is we are going to train against all this technology. We're going to make you the business. We're going to make you the face of your own business. We're going to train you how to be an entity within the entity. And then the rest of it doesn't matter. I don't care what technology goes on. My phone's going to continue to ring, and so is my team, because they want to deal with someone they know, they like, they trust. Once someone comes in as a transaction, we are going to give them our cell phones. We're going to offer to pick up their car for service and delivery. We're going to pick it up for service. Don't call the dealership. They're busy. You're my VIP. Anything has to do with automotive, here's my cell phone. You call me 24/7, 365, I'm going to answer my phone. If I don't answer my phone, it's because I'm assisting another client. I'll call you back as soon as I possibly can. I'll pick up your car, I'll bring you a loaner, I'll drop it off. So once you come in as a transaction, we're going to turn you to a relationship sale. That's what all of our team is trained to do. We do contests of who will bring in the most customer cars in 1 month. I think one of our associates brought in 20 customer cars in for service. So that means they had to pick up, some days they picked up 2 cars. And I said, hey, you got to come to work anyway. You get to burn our gas. You get to bring in their car. If you really sit and think about it, gas is pretty high. Use our gas. Don't use theirs. Where our service department had an all-time record month. And so then the next month we did it again and the numbers went down. I said, just because I didn't spiff you, y'all going to quit doing what you know you need to do? I said, the good ones only get to be shown once. The good ones, you show them one time and they take that idea and they run with it. The ones that have to be reinforced over and over again, sometimes people are just a little, they're a little stubborn. We're not going to give up on those either. But the special ones, you show them one time and they take what you show them and they run with it. Those are our future leaders of our dealership, which we have 20 managers, 17 of them sold cars there because we believe in promoting from within. If you're a superstar at another store, we're really not interested in you because you may not be a culture fit for us. And typically you're a prima donna. We don't want prima donnas. We want people that are there, that's went up through our culture, that started as a product specialist, started as a sales rep, started as a sales professional. If they make mistakes, I'll take their mistakes. But I'm not going to take someone that's not a culture fit just because they could put up big numbers. And that's a culture thing from CMA.
I want to shift the conversation a little bit to where we are in the industry right now. This is a broad stroke statement, but I'm curious your thoughts on it. Right now, basically, for most of the industry, lead comes in. We assume that lead is ready to buy today. We get angry when they don't. We get angry with our BDC because they didn't. And in my best observation, my assumption is because we have not accurately pinpointed what phase of the funnel that customer or potential customer is actually in. And the only option we give them is to submit a lead. It's like going into an ice cream store where the only flavor is, I'm trying to think of an old person, like pistachio. Is that is that what your dad had? Okay, so Sean Bradley's favorite pistachio brand. He's a sherbet guy. Okay. Pralines and cream. There's one. Except I love that one. But anyway, crap. So we're old. Sean, we're old. It's like going into an ice cream shop with one flavor. Guess what flavor you're gonna pick? Even if you didn't want pralines and cream, especially if it's a hot day out and it's the only place to get ice cream, you're slamming down some pralines and cream. Liken that now to our digital experience, where the only option we give them is submit a lead, make a phone call. Well, they're sitting and saying, the customer's going, well, how do I express interest and convey to them that I'm interested, not ready to buy, when the only thing that says is get e-price or whatever it might be? How do you reconcile across the board here? Whit, I want to start with you. How do you reconcile, just because they showed intent this way doesn't necessarily mean that's the phase of the funnel they're in, and how do you mitigate that moving forward?
I have a number for this one. So I painstakingly looked at over 111,000 VDP clicks, which is obviously where the large portion of our leads come from. And ask a question was the thing that outperformed everything else. The context piece there is ask a question outperformed everything else, even if the question was about one of the other buttons. So even if that question was about financing, even if that question was about trades. So that puts context into the hands of whoever is handling this lead that you're getting at the end of the day. Okay, what is their question? Are you actually answering it, or are you blindly calling them 3 times, assuming that they're going to buy? We need to meet people where they're at. They will buy at some point. We know that, or they wouldn't be asking that question. Unless you're Emer and you like going to car dealerships for 5 hours on a Saturday, then that's a whole different story. But they're going to need a car at some point in time. Why not make them like you, trust you, know you in that process? And also knowing that everybody isn't for everybody. Scott, you're not for everybody. That's okay. I'm not for everybody. That's all right. At the end of the day, there's going to be somebody on your team who can be for them.
So to talk about not being for everybody, just real quick, and then I'll go back and give you my opinion about lead submission. There's some customers I don't do business with. So I've sold about 130 TRXs throughout the country. I've got one going to California to an influencer named Alex Warren. He's got a couple million followers. He's a young YouTube singer. I didn't even know who he was till I looked him up. And so his truck's being transported out to him now. But I sell all the trucks at MSRP. I don't discount them, and you're going to pay shipping. And then there's alarm system and stuff we put on there. And when people reach out to me and they say, hey, what's your best price? I pretty much know at that point, depending on where they were referred to me, whether it was Ryan Stuman or Andy Frisella, whoever referred them to me, typically they just say, hey, how fast can I get it? It's never about price. And these people do have disposable income. It's how fast what do you have? How fast can I get it? Then what it's going to cost. When what it's going to cost is your third question and not your first question, that's who I know I want to deal with. If you're going to be a really big pain in my butt, they'll say, well, Scott, I can get one for 12 grand off sticker. I said, you can. Go right ahead. I'm not selling my TRX for that. I'm worth more than that. And some people will bug out and go away, and that's okay. I didn't want to deal with them anyway. So I can pick and choose. So I just got into 2023 TRX. I led my team. I gave them that evening to post it and sell it. And I said, I will post it in the morning and I'll sell it within a few minutes. I posted the next morning and sold it within a few minutes. I said, I gave y'all a shot. Now, I don't make any of my deals house deals. We assign them to people, but I fully expect them to have high CSI. So I pick and choose. I don't make any house deals. And they get paid on, that's an $8,000 or $9,000 front end gross at 30%. So, but then we reward behavior. But so we aren't for everybody, and that's okay. And I'm really lucky to be at a point where I can say that. I was at the point where I had to deal with real crappy people before. And if you're really crappy toward our staff, our team, we just have zero tolerance for it. Thank you so much, Michael, but you can take your business elsewhere because we're going to treat you with respect also. I think about analyzing the industry. We go to visit other stores that are much smarter than us. I'm not very smart, but I just get around very smart people. We emulate. You know, in school, when you stole someone else's idea, it was cheating. In business, it's called best practices. So we went to go see Beaver Toyota, which is a very you've been there. I mean, they're a sharp group. They took all their lead submission forms off their website, and they have everybody engaged in chat. And it happens to be Car Now Chat, which is who we use also, very good company. And so everything they do, they have people constantly answering chats, and you cannot submit a lead. And they've seen great success. We went and we're trying to emulate that now. Obviously, you have to put in the proper staff and set up the right things. But I think that's really the future of the auto industry is you don't want to go to a website and there's so many pop-ups. And I mean, it's so damn busy. And that just, to a lot of consumers, that's a turnoff. So I think a much cleaner website, much simpler, to make the process, keep it simple, stupid. But I think we're way overcomplicating it in a lot of ways.
I completely agree. I think a big topic that this whole conference is, and every conference really that you go to, is we need to educate our consumers, which is important. I almost want to say that's part 2 of it. Above education is conversation, is having a conversation with your customer. Like, even like if you went in on a TO and you had to, talk to a customer, you ever just like break down like the facade that this is a car buying like experience? Like, you're like, hi, Michael, hi. All right, let's talk. Let's break this down. Let's really talk. Like, that's what we need, right? And trying to break that facade down and actually have real conversations. And especially bringing it back to the different lead sources and of course they're going to ask for the best price, right, Michael? Because we've been literally saying, get the lowest, best deal here, lowest price here, up on your trade, without actually asking the consumer, what is important to you? Because we're automatically assuming it's going to be price, which that's on us because that's what we've been pushing in front of them this whole time. So above education, above, making sure they know about, the different interest rates, making sure they know that they're educated on the vehicle, is conversation, actually having a conversation with your customers and being able to train your salespeople to be able to have that proper conversation with it being authentic, with it making sure with the consumer in mind. Because if we're all about price, that's exactly what they're going to be wanting to look at on the desk, on the deal. But if you're concerned about, making sure they get the best, up on their trade, or making sure that they get approved, price isn't even going to be on their mind. It's going to be completely absent. So especially making sure we have different avenues on our website. Like when I had my I still have my T Got Your Keys website. So if you do want to have your salespeople look at my website, it's www.tgotyourkeys.com. And I leave that up there for everybody to look and emulate it. But under my resources, I would have a little guide section, and it would have, how to get the best gas price, or, how to get the best interest rate. And all of those are little triggers of, they want to have a conversation of what's the best car for fuel economy? What's the best car for if I do an electric vehicle? I think we need to start having more of those chat conversations open and stop having those price buttons, because it's really eliminating our conversation.
You're touching on pain points a little bit, and I'm sure that a lot of people in this room have heard of Mike Davenport. We work with Mike. He used to work at a Chevy dealer. He's Louisville Chevy dude. And if you look at some of the things that have made his videos such a success, he is touching on the pain point from the title to the thumbnail to everything. And he's answering these questions that have been taboo in this industry of, oh, here's how to get the best mileage. Like you said, here's how to not get scammed when you're buying a used car. And he's the person who they think should be scamming them, right? But he's giving them the answer. He's getting in front of that pain and causing it to be a point of connection between him and the customer. And I think that's brilliant. It's so simple. Why isn't everybody doing it? You're fixing the problem that they have and making that experience easier for them.
Okay, we've got about 5 minutes left. The question I have for you now is, who is feeling inspired in the context of your circumstances? Have you received new ideas today? Are you getting value out of this? Who is comfortable sharing an idea that has been inspired by this conversation? You don't need to move the camera over here if that's too difficult, but I'm going to put the microphone in Mr. Doan's face.
Scott, can you get me any car?
Pretty much, yes.
And you'll ship it to me in North Idaho?
Yes.
All right. Thank you.
Yep.
All right. Anybody else? You just sold another car. It's fantastic.
Why do you know, like, and trust him?
Yeah, I was like, was it his branding? What led to the sale?
I mean, I know what killers look like, so it's real easy to see scars on people. You know, when you see, you got scars too, but in a more beautiful way. I'm just saying, you can tell people that have been in the trenches, right? And so I still can't believe it. I asked that question sincerely because I buy a lot of cars. I have a lot of kids. And if I can just call someone, I just want my car to show up. I know what I need, especially for my younger kids. I know a car that they need and what they like, smaller, all that. And I don't care about price. I don't care. Can someone just ship me a car? And so if I can be in North Idaho and do whatever, I mean, I'm actually shocked that you can do that, because that means I don't have to drive to wherever state you're in. Yeah. You can get all my information. We can do it over the phone or whatever. That's a game changer. I'm assuming the reason why that's not being done a lot, well, I'll hold off on that. But to me, that has to be the future. The least amount of friction to get anything in life, I know as a consumer, is what I'm looking for. So I'll get your car today, and I'll buy a car tomorrow.
Sure. I'm a real rational thinker. I came from a family that had a scarcity mindset. My dad, they couldn't help it. We're from McDowell County, West Virginia. They know where that's at. Poorest county, United States of America. I saw my dad work 5 jobs, make $32,000 a year, clip coupons, fought about money. Everything my parents did was to give their 2 boys a chance to be successful. So in their honor, I have to do the best I possibly can. If not, their sacrifice goes in vain. Now, some kids these days will take that sacrifice and take advantage of it. I truly respect my parents for sacrificing their life for my brother and I. Now, my brother's a doctor in Texas. He was much more intelligent and better looking than me. I got in car sales. Very low barrier of entry, but that's where I got in. So, yeah, we ship cars all over the country. Just yesterday, driving up here, a friend of mine is at a lot in Louisiana. And he is the godfather of Arte. He's got 15 children. I've sold him mostly Subarus, and I shipped him to Kansas. His daughter's in Louisiana, sends me a Kia. MSRP is Kia or Hyundai, $33,000 with bump stickers up to $39,000. He told his daughter, stop right now, deal with Scott. Now, the vehicles that I sell will be MSRP plus shipping, but we don't charge over MSRP. Never have, CMA never will. I mean, we sell cars that are very hard to get and do not charge over MSRP. So then I don't sell Hyundai. He was looking at Kia, said, would you consider Hyundai? He said, yes. I connected him directly with the GM of our store, which if you ever ask anybody to refer you business, don't ever ask them, if you're going to refer me business, connect me directly with that individual. Because if they just tell you to contact me, I've got to rely on you taking action to contact me. I say, no, you connect me with them directly. Put me in a group text, put me in a group message, because I don't want that lead to follow through. Plus, I get a lot of leads. I want to make sure that I don't lose the lead. So that person yesterday driving up here is now going to be shipped to Hyundai from our store in Virginia down to Louisiana, and they're still saving money paying shipping, and they don't mind paying the shipping. They don't mind paying the price. They just want to deal with someone that they know, they like, they trust. And that's all through social media. And he's got 15 kids. So I'm going to sell him 15 cars. And his daughter went on her own, and he said, stop. And he got to, it was a dad moment, said, this is why you deal with Scott. If I'm dead and gone, you deal with Scott. Technically, our company makes money, but I don't part own that store, but our group makes money. And we refer people to that all the time. And even if I don't represent the brand that you would want, I'm going to refer you to my network. I don't ask for any kickbacks, any bird dogs, no nothing. All I ask you to do is to treat my referral with respect. And if you don't, and if they have a bad experience, I'll never refer you again. And I do that a lot of times too, because I want you to deal with me whether you buy from me or not. I want to be your car guy. So that's how we train our team. So if we do it that way, we train them all to be that way.
Yeah, there's dealers here about to buy a car from you.
I know. I was just going to say, I love that Scott's even preaching like, hey, like, we don't all have to be enemies, right? We can literally have a huge network where if you're specifically interested in that brand new Chevy Corvette and I can't get it, my friend can. I know that I can refer you to that dealer. And if that dealer has anybody that they're going to refer to me, I know that that's going to happen. I think a lot more dealers need to be doing that, because even as a sales individual, that would happen sometimes. And going back to how do we, really touch base on the consumers that are in the market right now, because the statistic is only 3% of people are actually in the market to buy a vehicle right now. 3%. So everybody submitting that lead that they're ready to buy, they're really looking for that conversation, looking for that connection, looking for someone to like and trust before they buy. So we need to start focusing on the 97% and not just the 3%, guys.
Love it. Well, listen, Tiana, Whit, Scott, thanks so much for sharing your wisdom with us today. Please, something that's unique about ASOTUCon is that they're here. Please introduce yourself to them. They are clearly here to impart their wisdom. So thank you so much. Let's hear it for our panelists today.